Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, where today we are going to be crafting.
No, not even close. Tonight we're going to go over the pros and cons of the big four major companies' washes. And
because we already did paints and we didn't have other ideas.
And when we're talking about washes, we're talking about the original little history lesson here for you guys. Washes in the...
When you took paint, put some water in it,
and that was a wash. Basically just watered down your paint and then slopped it over so that the water would evaporate, the paint would go down into the recesses and give you the illusion of shadows. And the four big companies, that being Citadel, Reaper, Vallejo, and Army Painter, all have a product they call a wash. Some of you guys may be familiar with one or more companies. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, you're right. Citadel actually calls theirs shades.
But that's probably just because of reasons.
Yeah, they want to brand their own products, and so technically maybe the creators didn't intend for it to be a wash.
I think it's just names.
Yeah, but we were looking at different categories
because the Citadel has such confusing names.
Yeah, we've been over that, smart guy. We're going to go over the following categories, the things we're looking for in a wash. Starting with thinness. We want it to be thin and be able to flow into those recesses, nooks, and crannies. Then staining. And by staining, I mean the upper levels. When, for example, we were painting these rib cages, we wanted the wash to go into the rib cages and highlight or darken the area in between the ribs, not the ribs themselves. But as you notice, every single miniature on our little test samples, there is staining. And
some more than others.
Right. For example, this is the Reaper samples we did.
Which is all the good and bad.
They all have their good points and bad points.
I think it's just we might not have done enough coats, because on the other side of these, they are all slightly better.
You want to just flip them over for this particular purpose?
Especially this one. This one on one side looks awful, but that's probably because he didn't do the metallic.
Right. And he did the fronts of the miniatures, I did the backs.
But I was kind of rushed on
the last one.
On the last few.
So we'll just leave these guys as the example. But as you notice, everything has staining. We painted these miniatures, these skeletons, all white. We just primered them, and then just gave them a liberal coat of whatever wash we were talking about or using. And Reaper doesn't have as wide a variety to
that's all they have.
They literally only have 6 types of washes.
However, they do, one of them is metallic, which is nice.
The next category we were looking for was flow down, we call it, which is its ability to go into the recesses more than stay up on the top.
Which this one obviously was the worst at, but it's still good when you do 2 coats. Which might also have a lot of effect, be affected a lot by its white.
Right. One of the other categories we judged these on was range of colors, and like you just said,
awful. That's all they have.
They literally have
that we know of.
Yeah.
That's all we could find.
I went on the website, looked, and literally they have 6 washes. That's it. They have a huge.
Unless they have something else that we haven't seen yet.
No, I
but
looked
I
at
highly
it.
doubt that.
They have 6. So some of the companies have a larger variety of washes or shades. Then the final category was color overpowering. We thought that, for example, if you're using blue, you're painting your miniature blue, and then you hit it with a blue wash, is it going to overpower the original color? A good wash should not do that.
And if it's already that color, it doesn't matter as much, which is what you're usually going to use a wash on, a blue wash on blue.
Right.
However, sometimes you want to use a wash on a color that isn't that same color.
For example, browns on yellows.
Which is really all you can do. But
never use black. That's a huge mistake.
I'm talking about when you use green and you want to give it a blue wash, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want it to just be blue that has a slight green to it. You want it to be a greenish blue, but still more green and just blue in the cracks. if you were to use this, which is already meant to be dark blue, not regular blue, that'd be bad. If you were to use the one you were just looking at, that'd not be good. However, there's one which is really good at that. This one is okay, but only with like 2 paints.
And as always, we rated everything with our 5-star rating system.
Except for one of them, and that was range of color.
0 being poor or bad, on up to 5 being great. And very few actually got a 5 in any category, if any.
No,
We got 1 5 out of the entire four companies.
And if you can guess, it's on paint.
So let's start off with the first paint.
Army Painter is good. It is most likely, and by most likely, I mean, it probably, no. It's the thinnest, not thinnest, it's the least thin, which is its major
Drawback.
Yeah. The worst thing about it is that it's not thin, which is not good.
However, I do believe that Army Painter is the first company to actually make a wash, or that was the first product that they developed in their line of paints. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember that being sort of a basis for their company's original products.
Yes. And for staining, the best. It does not, out of all of them,
It stains the least.
if you can tell, which you can't really see. However, from other knowledge, the staining that it does is next to nothing. It obviously still does, everything will. However, as you can see...
Let's show off the Army Painter
Yes.
page, just so we can get a good idea what we're talking about.
It is the least staining out of all of them. Also, the
As in, you
colors...
can see the most white
Yes.
showing through.
Also, all of their paints have a specific type of color to them that's darker, but in a different way. It's not grayer. I don't know how I want to explain
It's better
but
for going into the recesses and giving
it looks
you
more like shadows than just
a little more natural.
darker version. Yeah, it looks more natural. It looks more like the colors that would be there, but it also gives the color on top of it a more natural, realistic look, as when you put it on, the wash changes the color in a way that's subtle, doesn't overpower it as much, which we'll get into later.
Yeah. And then
It's-
flow down.
Yeah. It is good.
It's got
It's
the best flow
very
down.
good. Very good. It is... Okay. The flow down is extremely good.
It's the highest rated category of all.
Yes. It goes into the cracks very well. Better than a lot of other ones, as a lot of them, it may go down into the cracks. However, it doesn't. It goes into the cracks good. However, everything else is a very similar color, making it not as noticeable, which could have tampered with the rating, if you want to look at it that way. But what is more accurate is that it overpowering it, making it look like...
Changing the color.
Yeah,
the
if it
original.
overpowers so much that it doesn't look like it flows down as much, that's bad, and you don't want that.
Range of colors.
It is, we don't know if it's the highest range or second highest. It is not, obviously it's not tied with Citadel. However, we don't know which one's highest, which...
We do believe
really-
that they actually have more
Well, he
washes.
believes that,
Yeah.
I think the other.
But we literally have to, have the most up-to-date information. But as far as I could tell,
Or just go to the store and count every single one.
right.
I think that's not up to date. Well, it might be.
And then
For the color overpowering, we already said, not there. It is, out of all of them, the most white, showing through. Reaper and Vallejo are close sometimes, but other times, not at all.
I'll do Reaper next.
Yes.
Thinness, it's pretty average. It's right there in the middle of the road. They make, their paints are great. So whatever mediums they're starting with is giving it a good, solid base in the middle. The staining, as you can see, for example, the flesh, it
Okay.
it's very pronounced. You can see it.
But at the same
with the
time,
black,
it's
not so bad. With the stone wash, which is an unusual because other companies have a gray, but this is really.
I say
it's
this is more accurate being the black, and that's the gray.
But that's not actually the case.
Yeah.
And then something that bumped them up a little higher than anybody else is the steel wash, which is literally a metallic wash.
It might not show up that well on camera, but it probably will.
But it's, yeah, let's do the back. It looks a little bit better. It's got the metallic flakes in it, and it's almost like, I want to say the opposite of the, what was that called with the metallics in the Army Painter set? That pixie.
Oh, pixie dust, or whatever it is. Fairy dust.
Where it gives you the metallic look onto whatever color you base coat with.
It's not the best. It's okay.
But it's a nice little thing that nobody else has that bumped them just a little bit higher in the ranks than the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
On to Citadel.
To recap, it's just overall slightly better than average.
Right.
Almost all of them are 3.5s.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 1, 3.
Right.
Citadel is, still weird, the paints that scored the lowest on the regular paints did the best for washes, and the ones that did best for regular paints did the worst for washes. But we'll get there later. Citadel, its thinness, very good. Very not thin. It's, it's obviously, you can't tell, or it's very hard to tell just seeing the finished product. But the shades, they're called, for some reason.
Right. They
probably just...
I was told that if you were to water them down, you might get more of an actual wash effect. But that could be said about literally every kind of paint in the world, literally. From oil paints to...
And we wanted to get to the original
craft paints.
thing. Even though, because they're named shades, that could mean that they're like a mix between inks and washes.
Right.
But that's the closest thing they had.
Right. They still do the job, but they do have some issues, such as staining, as you can see with the green here.
I don't want to use the blue because that one is meant to be a dark blue, which shouldn't excuse it completely, as this is kind of a dark blue. All of Army Painter's colors are dark blue. As we said, they are good with pretty much everything, except for thinness, which is something Army Painter can't seem to get right. However, the staining, not good. However, some of them are a bit bad. It shouldn't stain that much, but it is dark blue. And if it goes on dark blue, it'll still overpower it, but we're not there yet. The amount of flow is pretty good. As you can see, it does get into the cracks. It's not as good as Army Painter. And, oh, that's a lot better. It goes into the cracks more. Okay. The range of colors, as I said.
It's probably the second largest range of colors.
Or largest.
Right.
We don't know yet. The only thing we can tell is that these two are the worst at that, because we have all of them.
Right.
So, they might be the largest, might be the second largest, we don't know yet. The color overpowering is not good.
Yes.
Which is very similar to staining, but it's one difference. This will, as you can tell, if you put any green and you use this wash, if you use a yellow green, it'll become a regular green again.
Right.
If you use a blue green, it'll probably become a regular green again. If you use a green like this, it's fine. Just like if you use a dark blue, this will probably not be an issue. But if you use it on any other blue, it's not going to be the same.
Right.
Unless that's what you want.
Some of these would work okay right out of the bottle as your base color, as opposed to being better as a wash.
They almost work as contrast. If you can tell, the metallics on these two, especially, this is very green. It doesn't shine that much, but it's still green. and that is kind of bluish, which is a good sign and a bad sign. It's good if it was meant to be a contrast or ink, but it's not. Which is probably why they use shade, or one of the reasons. Other reason is to be original or something, because Army Painter has messed up the joke. Overall, they are tied the best. However, even though, as I've said before, the scoring system, I believe, is very flawed, as things that should be the best get ranked very low, and things that are obviously bad get ranked much higher than they should be.
On to the final paint. That would be Vallejo. They ranked the lowest out of all four.
Looking at them, they don't seem that bad, but working with them...
Yes, they have some issues that we were... And mind you, I bought the box of Game Wash colors, which is a pack of 8 colors, and as far as I could tell, they might have a few other bottles of washes here and there.
Which we have.
But they're not... they're hard to find, for starters, and they're not listed in their main website or their information that comes with the package. And you know, they have a ton of colors, and a lot of their paints are fantastic. But when it comes to a wash...
Wait, no, they're not.
When it comes to being a wash, their thinness is right there in the middle. Right there in the middle. The staining...
I'd actually say like a 3.2 or a 3.15.
Their staining, as you can tell, they do stain. The blue, the green, the sepia, every one of them leaves a lot of color over the basic white when we would rather it be, you know, just white. And the colors in the nooks and crannies, the crevices, and what have you.
However, it isn't as bad as the others. The only one that's really better is Army Painter, but that doesn't say much. Also, the green isn't that bad, but the others are kind of bad.
Yeah. The flow down was not very good.
I actually would have disagreed. I would have disagreed.
Except
that you're right on like one of them. Yeah, you're right on, I'd say 1.5. That's bad, kind of. But the rest I don't think are actually that bad. At least the flow down. I think that might have been because I put a lot on them, though. So.
It could be. And then the range of colors, like I said, is, you know, right there in the middle with 8, maybe more washes that we're unfamiliar with, or, you know, we can't find out information on them. Some of the other...
We do have more than this, though.
Right. But they're in...
We also have more... Well, we don't have more than this.
They're in other categories of paint and other styles and themes of paint. The overpowering effect, as you can see, the green isn't too bad. The sepia is really strong.
Yeah.
The black, not so bad. I mean,
it's
compared
dark,
to all the other blacks.
But if you're going to use it on a gray and you want it to be really close to
anytime
being
you're
black,
using like a known oil to begin with, you're gonna kind of get that effect.
You want it to be dark.
You're trying to darken every aspect of it.
Oftentimes you have a gray and you want a black, but you don't want to dry brush over it. You want to use a wash. So you take a gray and use that, and you want it to be as dark as possible.
The brown is just mediocre.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the browns are all pretty close in every aspect. But
the only
Army
one
Painter
that's
still knocks it out
slightly
of the
better
park.
is obviously Army Painter and surprisingly Reaper.
It's not bad, but over here it's awful when it comes to overpower.
Yeah, that's because I...
You did two coats?
I don't think I... Yeah.
Because I know that's only one. So it's still, everything is brown, and it's going to potentially ruin your reds and your blues and your greens, making everything look just filthy dirty.
But also, why would you be using brown on
anything
green?
but brown? Right.
Or yellow, if you want
Their
that.
flesh wash is atrocious. It's so cartoony. And it's just...
The flow down isn't that bad.
No.
But the color...
is just...
The way I hope it was made is you divide them into the good paints and the bad paints. The good paints had their flesh wash, like skin color, or meant to be used on faces and hands. For some reason they called it flesh wash, which when I hear that, I think it's meant to be used on meat or something like that. And maybe that's what these two were trying to do. That's what I hope, because they don't look like the wash you'd want to use on that.
So from our recommendations, we would put Army Painter first,
Which everyone already knows.
then,
Citadel, because they're good.
believe it or not, Reaper, followed up by Vallejo.
Which are close, but a few things lower them down.
Vallejo's.
Main one, Reaper has metallic paint, Vallejo doesn't.
I would really like to see more come out of Reaper when it comes to washes, but Vallejo, just stop.
Or just
stop.
make...
I'm not going to actually. I'm going to use them, and when they're done, I'm not going to buy them again. I really didn't like them. If I wanted inks, I will get inks. If I want to wash, I will go anywhere else. I'm sorry, I love Vallejo paints, but their washes are just, everything about them we just did not like. We both used them. We both tried them out equally and fairly, and I don't know what they did wrong. I don't know what they were thinking, but they just, it's entirely possible I got a really bad batch, but I don't think so. I trust the source that I got it from, and I just, we compared them all fairly and squarely, evenly, with no bias. We didn't, hope for one company to be better, but, Army Painter, they try really hard and they did really well. Citadel, they make great everything, but they were maybe trying for something other than an actual wash. They do not actually say wash on the bottles, so we'll give them that. Reaper, they made 6 colors and they said, oh, we'll call it a day. Vallejo made their 8, maybe more, and they just did something wrong. It's just, I'm sorry guys. Those are literally our honest opinions. You can come on back now. I'm done ranting.
Okay, I thought that was my job.
No, not tonight. I was really disappointed. Let's just put it that way, folks.
I didn't want to talk about those because I thought I'd go too hard on them, but
for you newbies, just go with Army Painter, go with Citadel, grab the 6 Reapers because it's only 6 bottles and you're done and you got them all and you're good to go, and you'll use them, especially the stone and the steel wash. The flesh, maybe.
I don't think.
Yeah, I really didn't like that one. The brown, the sepia, those are just as good as anybody else's. And, since they sell them in 3 packs anyways, you buy the 2 3-packs, it's $20. You've got them all. If you ever want that little, cartoonier, little, more, I'm not sure what to call it, flesh wash, you're good. But flesh washes, everybody's got like multiple kinds now,
and then Army Painter decided to make like
an entire set of flesh washes, which we'll try out later. But
still have weird names.
I still have like 5 or 6 different bottles of flesh wash, so I'm not going to run out anytime soon, unless I start doing hordes of naked barbarians or something. So those are our thoughts on washes. I hope they guys help you guys out. Hope you guys can use this info, and
good night.
You're not going to tell them about tomorrow or Thursday?
Oh yeah, Thursday we're doing another crafted sci-fi thing.
It's another one out of this. Yes, It's all on you again.
Oh yeah.
And that's 2 in a row from the little guy. He did really good with the spaceship, and he's got something else planned for you guys. And
it's not as good.
Oh, listen to him, so modest. We will see you guys Thursday. Hope you guys are having a great week, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Yes, we will.
So, thanks for stopping by, folks.
Good night.